headed to Prince Street Pizza right now. It's raining, but honestly probably it's one of the better times to go since there's always a line at Prince Street Pizza from what I've seen. I'm excited. I've pretty much heard from everyone that they really like this pizza, so I think it's like a square, is that the Detroit style pizza where it has a little bit of a thicker crust and some really good looking pepperoni, so let's try it out.
3 of the pepperoni squares? Yeah. And then one slice of cheese.
We're home now. Our box is definitely very wet, but at least there was no line, and let's take a look at the pizza. So we got 3 slices of pepperoni. These slices are pretty big, like I don't know if you can tell, but this is like a standard pizza box. And then we also got 1 regular cheese pizza slice, so looks good. I definitely like the look of these pepperoni. It's actually pretty lightweight. It's pretty thick, decent amount of cheese. Let's take the first bite. It's good. I actually feel like it's not too cheesy, which is usually the case with like the thicker square pies like this. It's very savory. The tomatoes have really good flavor. They're not like too acidic or anything.
It's actually lighter than I was expecting. If you eat a pepperoni on top, it's really salty and stuff. The dough itself is light and fluffy. And
yeah, it doesn't feel like heavy. I think because it's not so cheesy and the dough is so fluffy. Yeah, I like this tomato sauce a lot.
Yeah, I think it might be cooked.
Are they not usually?
I've read that some tomato sauces are just blended canned tomatoes.
The cheese they use is definitely different too. I know they like mentioned it on the wall or something. It's not just like a thick, like clumpy layer of like mozzarella cheese, you know? I feel like it's actually pretty thin and kind of, I don't know how to say, but like it's kind of like broken up. Perfectly crispy too.
They have a lot of like the comfort aspects.
It's like the perfect pepperoni pizza. And try the cheese. Here we've got the cheese slice. Let's see how their thin pie compares. The crust is like really nice. It's like nice and dark and definitely not flimsy. Oh, crispy. Maybe it's because it doesn't have pepperoni, but it definitely tastes like much sweeter. Okay, on second thought, after trying the pepperoni pizza without the pepperonis on it, the sauce does seem like the same one. It's definitely much sweeter when you don't have any pepperonis with it, which is so crazy. It's like so transformed once you eat it with pepperoni. It's like smoky, a little bit spicy, definitely very salty. Overall, we definitely prefer the pepperoni pizza. I'd be interested in trying one of the regular slices with like maybe some different toppings, maybe with some pepperoni on it. They definitely use the like more standard layer of shredded mozzarella cheese on this one, and it doesn't taste like quite as different, and the sauce is so sweet, so I feel like you need something a little bit more to kind of balance that out. Well, that crunch is so good. I really like the dough itself. Whew, okay, I didn't need that last half pepperoni slice, but we're done and I'm ready to share my concluding thoughts. Overall, I really liked the pizza from Prince Street. Definitely the pepperoni square slices are the way to go. I don't actually know like what other options that they offer, but it's so delicious. I think they definitely like mastered that slice of pizza. The pizza itself was surprisingly light in terms of like weight, as well as the flavor. Like the pepperoni itself is like super salty and smoky and a little bit spicy, but the cheese and the pizza dough are very light and airy, and I think the really sweet tomato sauce that they use balances out the pepperonis really well. The tomato sauce honestly tastes like something that I would expect to be on pasta. They definitely cook it a bit. It's not acidic at all, and there's a good amount of herbs in it. As for the price, I think the pepperoni slices went for like about $5 each, and then the regular cheese slice was $3. Overall, our total came out to be like around $25 for 4 slices of pizza, and it was definitely enough to be like a full meal for the 2 of us. So I would definitely consider this like a more affordable, cheaper eat that's definitely worth your money. I feel like they use really quality ingredients. This is definitely one of my favorite pizza places that I've tried so far in New York. It's definitely one of the places that I would recommend to friends and family to try out if they ever visited, because overall I just think it's like a really good pizza that everyone's gonna like. Okay, so I just picked up some food to bring home from a place called Fung, and this place is known for their really good Chinese barbecued meats. at really affordable, cheap prices. If you get their small size, you can choose from either roast pork or chicken, and it's on top of like some cabbage and some white rice, and that will only cost you $4.75 for a pretty sizable portion. I didn't order that one today because I did actually want to try the other barbecued meats, so I got some combos. I got the chashu, which is like a Chinese barbecue pork. They also have like a crispy roast pork, so I got that, and then I also got roast duck. Okay, here's what we got. So again, I got like a 3 meat combo, and this is I think the larger size. So our total came out to be $15.60, so a little over $7 for all this food, which is still a really good deal, and I'm very excited to try this out. All right, let's dig in. Looks really nice and juicy, but not like too greasy. Let's go for the chashu. This is usually my favorite, my go-to. Good, it's really good. Nice and meaty, has a little bit of smokiness. I feel like these pieces are cut thicker than most places where you would get chashu. I feel like usually they cut it pretty thin. So I really like these big chunks of meat, and then some of the pieces have a little bit more fat on them. The rice is so good too because it just like soaks up all that like oil and grease and flavor. And then they also drizzle on some sauce at the end. Let's try the roast pig next. I think it's this piece right here that you can tell the meat itself isn't as like red and smoky, and then it has this crisp layer on top right here. That's good too. Very savory, not as like sweet and smoky as the chashu. The top part isn't like very crisp or anything, but it does have like some nice color to it. It's really good. All right, we got a nice piece of duck. Chinese duck is definitely my favorite way to eat duck. I feel like it just really doesn't compare any other way. The only thing of duck is pretty bony, so it's hard to find like a good meaty piece. Delicious. I think if I had to pick just one meat, I would definitely go with the barbecue pork, the chashu, but I think it just like has the most flavor on its own out of all of them because of that extra sweetness and smokiness, but it's still really savory, really meaty. So I feel like it just has the best of both worlds. I feel like there are some pieces of the roast pork, like this one here, where the skin got really crispy. These are the pieces that you want. Overall, I think the hype is definitely on point. The food is really good and so affordable. I feel like I could definitely make 2 meals out of this one dish, which was like, what, $7? I went on a Friday around like 11 a.m. and the line wasn't too long, but it did actually take a while to move because I think a lot of people are ordering like multiples of these, like 4 to 6 of them. So it just takes time for them to like cut up all the meat and assemble everything. But once you get to the front, it should be pretty quick to get your food. And I think it's definitely worth checking out. I feel like there are very few places where you can get this much food at this like quality for the price point. So today we're headed to a restaurant called Raku for dinner. They're known for their udon. It's just one of those restaurants that everyone has recommended, and we actually have eaten there before. We honestly thought the food was good, but like not amazing. But we're gonna make another trip today and try some of the more, I guess, like extravagant udons that they have. So I'm excited, I'm very hungry, and let's see how the udon is today. So here's what the menu looks like. There's a bunch of appetizers, and there's actually 2 locations of Raku. We're currently at the Soho one, and this one actually I think has a slightly larger cold appetizer menu, but here's what we're here for, the udon. So I'm pretty sure last time we just got like the niku udon. It's pretty standard, popular beef udon to get here, but I think today I want to try the crab udon and the egg soup. That sounds really good. We're also gonna get a cold udon today, probably either the zaru or the hiyashi udon. I don't think I've ever had cold udon, so that'll be fun. And then we'll also get a couple of appetizers to try today. First up, we've got some zaba sushi, some mackerel sushi. Wow, the rice is so flavorful. Wow. That's really good.
I think the two sides are different. Like one side's a lot more fatty, the other side's more meaty. Did you get this fatty side first or the meaty side?
The fatty side.
I like the fatty side better, I think.
Yeah. It just kind of like melts. So this is an unexpected order. So we ordered the fried eggplant with like quail egg dish, and this is what it looks like. I'm kind of confused on like what's the eggplant. This, right? This doesn't seem fried. You want to dig into it?
It looks like a Japanese deviled egg.
Oh, whoa.
Like they replaced the innards.
It looks like a sweet potato kind of. Interesting. Alright.
Last time you got something really
I think it's like minced pork. It's pretty spicy. Kind of has like a bitter. It's kind of like a bitter heat to it. Oh, here's all the eggplant seeds.
Cool, but I don't actually like eggplant that much still.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be like a battered fried eggplant, like a tempura kind of. This is different. The flavors aren't bad, but I think like texturally, this isn't really something that I expected or would want to order. It's more of like a stir fry texture, I guess. Growing on me. It has good flavor. Alright, now we have the main course. So I ordered the crab udon with the egg, and it looks so good. Look at all that crab meat. This soup is nice and thick and eggy. Ooh, look how thick that is. We have the hiyashi cold udon. It's tomato and seaweed on it. Also got some mixed tempura, and then I think this is the dipping sauce for the cold udon. The tempura is really good, so light and crisp.
This is another restaurant that's really good that we're not eating it.
Grab some noodles. Dip It's good. It's like even more refreshing than soba. Now let's try the crab. This looks so good. Get a nice bite with a lot of crab meat. I don't really know like how you're supposed to eat cold soba and like what the ice water really does, but I assume it just like keeps them cold and nice and chewy and so they don't stick together maybe. It's definitely really good, really light and refreshing if you just want something super simple. I can't actually tell if the noodles in the cold udon and the hot udon are different, but these are actually they're not that thick, they're on the thicker side for udon. They're chewy, but the ones in the crab udon are actually chewier. This bite has a little bit of crab, some green onion. The cold udon is really good, really light and refreshing, but I have to say that this is definitely kind of the bowl of udon that I prefer. This one is like super hearty and savory. It's like very filling with that like thicker egg drop soup. But the broth almost has kind of like I feel like a Chinese flavor to it. It's a little bit stronger than like just dashi, although I could be wrong about that. And then the crab is really nice. It just adds that like nice sweetness to it. I think also the thing I like about this broth is that a lot of like beef udon broth tends to be very sweet, but I think this one is definitely more on the saltier side, which I actually kind of enjoy. Alright, my battery is dying, but everything has been so delicious. I'll wrap up my thoughts later when I get back. Okay guys, I'm back home, and before we wrap up this video, I did want to just give my final thoughts on Raku. It was a little bit harder to film in public, and I don't know if the sound is going to be okay for all the clips, but overall we really enjoyed this visit to Raku. Definitely I would say more than our past visit to the East Village location about a year ago. If you haven't had much udon before, then yeah, I would say definitely try out the beef udon. That one is definitely a staple. I think because the first time we visited we were very like safe with our choices. We ordered dishes that you can get at a lot of different Japanese restaurants, like the Niku udon, I think we got like chicken karage. But today we ordered some really fun stuff. I actually really ended up enjoying that eggplant appetizer. It definitely wasn't what I expected, but it was just so flavorful, and I really did like the flavor profile of it, and kind of fun because it was unexpected. We also really liked the Saba sushi. Saba is mackerel, and if you're a fan of mackerel, I really enjoy it. It's a little bit more of like a very salty, kind of savory, pretty meaty fish, and tastes so good when they sear it and char it in that way. The combination of the fatty piece and the meaty piece was so good, and the sushi rice that it was on was also so delicious. I would definitely recommend getting that appetizer, and I know that the next time we go to Raku, we're probably going to try one of the rice donburi bowls. And then as for the udon, I was really happy with my choice of trying out the crab udon. Definitely the most unique udon I've ever tried, and that also was super flavorful. The broth was like really thick. The texture of it actually really reminded me of this Chinese dish called tofu now, which is like tofu brain. I guess they call it brain because the liquid has a little bit like of that thicker consistency to it. Really enjoyed that a lot, and I would definitely try one of their like other specialty udons the next time I go as well. The cold udon is something that I would say you could pass on unless it's just something that you're really in the mood for. If it's like a super hot day and you just want something really light and refreshing, then I definitely think you'll enjoy the cold udon. But for the most part, it was very light in flavor, not super complex, still delicious either way. So yeah, those are my final thoughts on Raku. I will definitely be back again, and I'm actually really surprised and happy that I ended up really enjoying each of the restaurants that I tried in this video. I feel like a lot of the times sometimes things can be too hyped up, but I have to say that the 3 restaurants that I tried in this video are definitely very deserving of their popularity.